Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stevenson, the Odd Man. He'll unpack wisdom and insights from a cross-section of top-quality performers in business, media, sports, entertainment, and lifestyle to uncover key elements to help you live your best audacious life ever. So without further ado, here is the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations, it's Audley Stevenson back for another edition of the Audacious Living Podcast. Hey, this is the most audacious podcast on the web, and it's always a pleasure to be here as we continue our goal of helping you live your best audacious life ever. Of course, our social media channels are just one of the great ways that you can connect with us. I would encourage our listeners to do so. You can like, follow, share Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Also on YouTube, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Now, we've got another big episode of the podcast on deck here, and it's coming your way. We're welcoming Basketball Hall of Famer and Olympian Nancy Lieberman today's show. And if you're not familiar with Nancy, you need to know and understand that she's an absolute trailblazer in the sport of basketball. She's done so much to advance women's basketball specifically. And it's been a lot. And you look at where it is today, we know there's a lot more that needs to be done from an equity standpoint. But she certainly has been a key figure in getting the ball rolling. And that pun was totally intended, by the way. Nancy Lieberman is just, she's an outstanding individual. She has the distinction of being actually the first woman to ever coach a men's basketball team. And that's really paved the way for other women who are interested in doing the same. They now can look to her as a real life vivid example. I think of someone like Becky Hammon with the San Antonio Spurs as an example of someone who's paving that way. Another fascinating aspect of Nancy's amazing story is her 40-year friendship with boxing legend Muhammad Ali. You know, they met when she was just a teenager, and it continued right up to his passing in 2016. And, you know, when you're talking to Nancy, she'll tell you she had all kinds of shortcomings, and despite whatever she thought her shortcomings were at that time, Ali saw something in her that was special, and he developed it. Being able to positively impact someone's life in a way that changes their trajectory is profound. You know, one of my firm beliefs has always been just that. We each have the opportunity to positively impact those around us through our actions, whether they be direct or indirect. We can make a difference to people in our circle, or even outside of that for that matter. In the case of Nancy and Ali, you know, their relationship was special, and that relationship forever will be an integral part of Nancy's overall story. So really was great hearing from Nancy herself and all the wonderful things, her ups and downs that she'd gone through, certainly a lot more ups and downs. And so with that, I would say it's time to hear from Nancy directly. So I'm going to stop talking. And again, here's Hall of Famer and Olympian, Nancy Lieberman. Known in basketball circles as Lady Magic, Hall of Famer and Olympic medalist Nancy Lieberman has the distinction of being the first woman to ever coach in a men's professional league. The Brooklyn native attributes much of her on-court success to lessons learned as a child playing basketball at Rucker Park in New York City. Another key to her development was the 40-year friendship she had with the late great Muhammad Ali. The brash and bold former heavyweight champ took Nancy under his wing at an early age and taught her about life, philanthropy, competition, and racism. Nancy shares her incredible basketball journey coming up next on the Audacious Living Podcast. Here we are on the Audacious Living Podcast, and it's an absolute pleasure to be joined. They call her Lady Magic. She's a Hall of Famer. All kinds of great things and accolades attributed to her career. Nancy Lieberman. Nancy, how are you?
I am wonderful. I want to say hi to all my friends in Canada. I just love that country. It's pretty awesome. Congrats on the Raptors ring. It's pretty cool.
Very cool. I tell you, the buzz out of crowd was phenomenal, and it was great to be a part of. So yeah, they didn't give you a ring? I did not.
What? I'm gonna call Drake right now and get that fixed.
You got him on speed dial, do you?
Not speed dial, but I got him.
Got you. Well, yeah, I'd appreciate it. Thank you in advance.
Thank you.
Listen, I wanted to spend some time talking to you about just when reflect on your career, and you've lived it with such a boldness and audacity that has really broken barriers, and quite frankly, you haven't had he's like can do sort of attitude. I wonder if you sort of could talk, Nancy, where did that start for you? How did you develop?
Well, for me, I didn't think about being audacious, but I did know that I needed sports because I was growing up in New York City, in Queens. I was born in Brooklyn, and we just like others. Everybody has something. Well, I didn't have a dad. We were one grandparent away from food stamps. We just didn't have things that a lot of other people had. And I'm a girl from the '60s and '70s. So there was no WNBA, there was no Title IX, there were no scholarships.
Right.
We didn't have what women have today.
Right.
So, I think I fell under the labels of you're a tomboy, you're never going to make anything of yourself. Why are you playing with black kids in the schoolyard? Ms. Lieberman, what's wrong with your daughter? And I got tired of being profiled and labeled and called names. And I think for me, sports became kind of that equalizer, because when somebody would say, okay, we'll take her, it was like almost saying you love me and you cared about me or you respected me.
Right.
And I felt like it was my way. It brought me joy and happiness.
Right.
And it built my confidence and my self-esteem and decision making. And so I started playing football. That was my first, contact football.
Yeah.
At 8, 9 years old. And then I started playing baseball. And then I landed at 10 on basketball. And all of it and all of those people changed my life.
Mm-hmm. I've heard you talk about not being the victim, or rather the victor, based on just your challenges in the past. I wonder if you can expand on that a bit more, because I think that feeds very much into what we're talking about here.
I think sometimes when things don't go our way and you're feeling bad about something, it's okay to emote how you're feeling. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And everybody has their own way. I kind of went inward for myself. And some people, they just put everything out for people to see. And neither is right or neither is wrong. But for me, the most important thing was I needed to be who I was supposed to be and not allow people to define me.
Gotcha.
And sports really helped me strengthen that resolve. But I can tell you, I was fraudulent. I was a little bit full of crap and hid behind being Nancy Lieberman, this basketball player. But when you get into the streets of New York and you get into Rucker Park and you get into Harlem, and you don't have time to be a victim.
Right.
And when I say I wasn't a victim, I was a victor, because every one of those instances, every one of those challenges allowed me to be bigger, stronger, bolder, and it helped my belief system. So while other people were looking, well, he got by her, or this guy shot over her, or she got dunked on.
Right, right.
Okay, when I play against girls, you're not going to do that to me. These guys were taking me up with them. And we all should have that mentality, lift when you rise, take somebody else with you. Gotcha. And they took me to another level because of the physicality of the game and how I had to see the game. So I'm really indebted to my friends in the parks at Rucker Park. And it just gave me a mental attitude of how I wanted to play. And really, it wasn't until I fell in love with Muhammad Ali at 10. That's when the audacity, I beat Joe Frazier, I beat, George Foreman, I beat Sonny Liston back in 1964. I'm the greatest of all times. And I was just mesmerized by his brashness and his confidence. And I just tried to take a lot of his qualities and read as much as I could about Ali. And that really, he didn't know he was affecting, the black heavyweight champion of the world had no clue he was affecting a 10, 11, 12-year-old little white Jewish kid from Queens. He had no clue.
And you hadn't met him at this point either, too, right? You hadn't, right? So there we go. Wow.
but just how he handled himself inspired me to try out for that U.S. team in 1974.
Right.
And to make the 75 Pan Am teams as a junior in high school, and to make the Olympic team in Montreal. That's why I love Montreal. I love Canada. I was 17 when I got to Montreal and 18 when we medaled. And to still be the youngest Olympic basketball player for the United States ever. And, one of my dear friends and college teammates at Old Dominion is Chris Critelli, who is just a legend in Canadian basketball. And, just being able to play against her in the Olympics and then be teammates in college and win championships. But Ali really set the table for me. And then I get a scholarship to college, which I would have never been able to go to school without a scholarship. And meeting him and just the aura of him, I couldn't even breathe. I was in the room with him and I was like, I can't believe this is Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
And my mom is just hanging on him and, oh, Mr. Muhammad, my daughter Nancy, she's the greatest of all times. And he goes, listen, lady, there's only one greatest of all times. It's me. And he called me over. And I guess, as they say, the rest is history.
Sure.
He knew I needed him. He was amazing. And he put his wing on me and said, there'll never be a day that I'm not in your life. And I was like, but you're Muhammad Ali. And I was only 19 or so at the time.
Right.
And he says, Nancy, God made you special. And I believe this was the moment that Muhammad Ali knew he had to be in my life. When I came back and went, you know God too? You know everybody. That's amazing. And he just was like, oh, look, I got to help this girl.
I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it's not over. And, he was just so kind. And he taught me so much about competition, about philanthropy, about racism. And I had no clue he was tutoring me for the future.
Right.
And, I had from 1979 until we buried him almost 5 years ago, June, coming up in June, to have this man in my life, to have him show up in a very big and present way,
right,
was so impactful for me. I remember when I got my coaching job in the NBA in 2015,
yep,
the second person I called were the Alis.
Wow.
And I was like, Lonnie, where's Muhammad? And she goes, hang on, baby, I'm gonna put him on speaker. And I said, how did you know I was gonna coach in the league before I was in the league? I said, I just got hired by the Sacramento Kings. And she told me, she goes, he's acting like he's shooting. And I'm like, you can't shoot. we always had this like playful relationship.
Sure.
My first game in November of 2015, Ali came to the game and sat in the box behind. And, my players are like, the champ is here. And somebody goes, what's he doing here? And one of them goes, oh, that's coach's friend.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
So that's street cred, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Love.
Absolutely.
And he was great. He took pictures with everybody. And I'm just grateful for his direction in my life. And now, subsequently, I have been able to be an influencer and to give back the way Ali gave to me. It seems easy.
Mm-hmm. I love the fact that he was able to identify sort of the greatness in you before we saw it ourselves. And oftentimes that is the case, where the people around us can see what we have in us and we just haven't unearthed it yet. So the fact that he was able to identify that in you is just phenomenal.
That's what he was. It's even a privilege, and I've said it many, many times, to sit in this podcast and tell you about, my 40 years with Muhammad Ali, and just to be loved and cared for by he and Lonnie and the family, and be asked to do things or come to the house. I don't think there was ever a time that Lonnie or Muhammad asked me to come to Phoenix. I would get on the next plane. That's how much I love this man.
Beautiful relationship. Wonderful. And I can see it's been impactful. And again, the way that you've taken that and helped others, just phenomenal. The whole giving back, right? So it's amazing.
Really. So didn't Muhammad say service to others is the rent you pay for your time here on earth? What can I do for you? How can I help you? I don't want anything in return. I'm just trying to continue to make him proud of me.
Got you. Speaking of proud, I'm sure you must be proud of Becky Hammond when you look at what she's done with her career thus far. Once upon a time you were the first female to coach an NBA level team, and now Becky's come up, and now she's really on the cusp of some greatness. What if you sort of talk about that and what you see in her?
Well, I've known Becky since she was in college, and to see her come as an undrafted free agent to the New York Liberty and not to allow obstacles to be put in her way, and there were obstacles in her way. And all she's done, she's a brilliant person. She's a great person, and she has just a beautiful personality. And to see the opportunities that she's been given, but she's earned.
Right.
I mean, Pop is no joke. If he didn't think you were working hard, if he doesn't think you're deserving of that situation, he won't just do it for do it. He just won't do it that way. I think Becky will make a great coach when they call her to the first chair. She's worked really hard. She's been mentored by the best.
Right.
And she's an overachiever. So she'll do everything possible for her team to succeed. So I'm really excited, and I love her, and I'm really proud of her.
So when you I guess that when you look at her situation, reflect back on your own, and what if you sort of talk about what that experience was for you when you were sort of in a similar situation?
Well, Becky and I have been, like I said, friends for a long time. So, we've talked about a lot of things over time. We've vacationed. We've had a lot of fun. Um, you glean information from everybody along the way. Look, I'm as proud for Nick Nurse as I am for Becky. Nick and I coached together in the D League. It's a G League now, and we're great friends. And he was very instrumental. A lot of the guys in the league were instrumental. Darvin Ham and Chris Finch and Eric Musselman. There are a lot of guys who helped me and mentored me while they were trying to beat me. But Nick Nurse is exceptional. He's a great teacher. He's born to win wherever he's coached. So I'm happy that good people get great opportunities and then take advantage of it and become great role models.
And again, Nancy, I think they've seen something in you, and so it's not as if you were handed it. You obviously had put in the time, you worked for it, and it wasn't just because you're a woman or they're trying to make headlines by saying they did this big remarkable thing. You earned it, right, all the way through.
I don't cheat the system. I've never cheated the system. I'm a grinder. When it's all said and done, you take away, well, she's this or she's a Hall of Famer or Olympian or this. That's for everybody else. I'm TJ's mother. And I go out every day to be better today than I was yesterday. Tonight, I have the Thunder Timberwolves game. I want to be the best studio team in the NBA tonight. That's how I approach things. I have that Mamba mentality, or as Kobe used to always call me, the Mamba. And that's the only way I think is there's fellowship, but there's competitiveness. And when you lose the dog in you, you lose that competitiveness in you, it's time to get like a lazy boy and a clicker and just enjoy what other people are doing. And whether it's coaching, for Ice Cube and the Big Three, or doing TV right now, for the Thunder and the Pelicans, this means something to me because they're entrusting me. I have one of 30 jobs in the NBA. And they're entrusting me not only to do a good job, but to point out things that maybe people don't know or haven't seen. And I love that. I love to teach and I love to educate. And I actually love the game. I still love the game after all these years. That love story of basketball is real.
Amazing. You touched on Ice Cube's Big Three League and, small world. In my spare time, I'm the deputy commissioner of the National Basketball League of Canada. And lo and behold, big baby Glenn Davis spent some time playing in our league. And of course, you coached him in the Big Three when you won a championship. Talk about that experience. Like, again, you're the first female coming into a brand new league, a fairly new league that is looking to make a big splash, and you do it in a real big way.
Well, I can remember when, I got the phone call, maybe 2018. I was watching the NCAA tournament, and I was clicking back and forth between the games and straight out of Compton. And it's crazy. And then, I get a phone call and we start talking and it's Ice Cube. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Yeah. I didn't know why he was calling me. I was just so happy.
Yeah.
So with that said, it was like, look, I'm pretty much what he's saying. I'm about diversity. I'm about equality and inclusion. And my roster doesn't have that right now. He says, we'd really love for you to be a head coach in our league. And, I remember asking Ice Cube, I said, are you just trying to check a box? I mean, we're all minorities here. Yep. Are you trying to check a box? Why do you want me? I said, tell me the reasons you really want me. And he says, he calls me NL. He goes, NL, I think you can win. I said, done. That's what I wanted to hear, that you think I can compete with our team. And with that, I mean, we were signed, 5 days later, ready to roll. Right. So when you have Glenn, Big Baby Davis, and Birdman, and Katino Mobley, Corey Maggette, Quentin Richardson, Xavier Silas, there's a lot of talent in that league. So I flew out to LA and before it was the Mamba Academy. Okay. I think it was like a LA Fitness type of facility. And, I got my guys and I try to set the tone with them. This is what we're going to do. This is why we're going to do it. And these are going to be the results. I'm a minimalist. Right. This is why, this is how, This is what the results will be. And so they saw that I was serious and I came in with plays and this is how we're going to do things. Tell me your favorite plays, the most successful plays you've ever had, because we'll incorporate that. We want to celebrate you, not tolerate you. Right. We had great guys, great competitors. Only 2 of my guys had ever won championships, and that's Glenn in 2009 with the Celtics, and then Birdman with the Miami Heat won 2 championships. So he's the ultimate teammate. And, to have Glenn on your team, and we had fun. Our team would go out after every game and we would have dinner together. I don't really know what other teams did, but I knew their kid's name. I knew their wife's name, their girlfriend's, their grandma's name, mom's name. It was important for me to get to know our players on another level. I wanted their children in the locker room. 20 minutes before the game, out. It's our time now. Right. I don't want the wives. Don't be calling about tickets. Don't be calling that your seats aren't good. Right. You figure that out. Now we're going to work. Right. But, if you lead with love and kindness and acceptance, when I do say, no, don't be calling the locker room, there is a respect that it's time for us to do our job. And to win that championship in New York at Barclays, in Brooklyn, and it was unbelievable, actually. And the confetti, like you see the NBA finals, it was so first class. And for Ice Cube to hand that trophy to me, and he was like, he just like whispers, he goes, "You're no joke." And I said, "Well, neither are you. Thank you for the opportunity." That's all we need. We need a chance. If I fail, fire me. If I do well, it opens the door up for other people. Right.
Amazing. As you're talking about how you coach and your players, clearly to me, Nancy, what I'm hearing is the relationship component is extremely important. Developing, forming, and maintaining a strong relationship, because that helps from a coachability standpoint, if that's a good way of saying it, a good term to use. But
just life.
Yeah.
It's life. And why would I not want to know the guys who are running through a wall for me and our team? And to let them know that on your best day, I think you're amazing. On your worst day, I think you're amazing. I think that really goes far. And, even guys that played for me in Sacramento, whether it's Willie Cauley-Stein or Seth Curry or DeMarcus or Rondo or Rudy Gay, I stay in touch. With our guys just to let them know if they've done something good. I just hit them and say, "You were remarkable," or "How's the kids?" Or it's me, that I'm only doing what I know. I didn't get this out of Coaching for Dummies book. This is how I am with my son.
Right.
And this is how I want to be with people.
Right. What are we're talking about the secret of secret of our success, and you're in a male dominated sport. What would be the secret to your success, if there is a secret, or the element that's kept you going?
I think probably, never stop working, wanting, or dreaming. Everything is possible. And, Ali gave this to me many, many years ago when we first met. He said, respect everybody, but fear nobody. And I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of any situation. And I try to keep it simple. Like I said, we can win, we could lose. I can get the job, I can be on your podcast, not be on your podcast. I try not to sweat that. I try to use my faith and my belief in God and try and take away all the exterior noise, especially for somebody like myself who, there are people out there when I first started coaching. Oh, she can't coach. I was like, dude, I'll send you my number. Let's talk about basketball. You want to talk? I'm willing. I'm an everyday kind of girl. I just live in an uncommon world because I've got 4 decades at my job.
Right. And as time goes on, the cans become small. Like maybe at one point the cans were really loud, right? And you still have to find a way to get past that and ignore that. But as time goes on and you put more to your life's resume, if you will, becomes those cans become smaller and smaller. You think that's a good way of putting it?
I do. I just think respect, is given, respect is earned. I don't have a problem talking to somebody. You don't have to agree with me.
Right.
I'm more than happy. That's why I see people in this world, and it's like, if you don't agree with them, it's war. I was like, I don't have to agree with you. I'm a Yankee fan. There's a lot of people who don't like the Yankees.
There you go.
You might be a Dodgers fan. Doesn't mean I don't like you. It just means I'm loyal to the NY. You're loyal to the LA.
Right.
So, I try to wake up every day with a good spirit. If given the chance and my little shades go up and I take a breath of air, it's a good day. And I have a chance to talk to people, to try to influence them, to cure. And more importantly, it doesn't matter if you don't look like me or I don't look like you. Love is love, right? The greatest religion in the world is love. Just lead with it every day. My smile makes you smile. It didn't cost me anything to be nice. I don't wake up angry or militant. I'm sorry. If you are, I think it's fantastic. That's not me.
Right. Yep. Well, makes total sense. Nancy, really appreciate sitting down and chatting with you. One last question I want to ask before we go, and I want to go back when I started talking about boldness. I'm just wondering, from your perspective, what would you think is the boldest or most audacious thing you've ever done?
The ESPN body issue at 60. That was the most uncomfortable 6-7 hours of my life. It was crazy, but I wanted to see if I could do it.
How did that come to be? Like they approached you, or how was that?
Yeah, no, they called. Actually, about 4 years ago, my son was at summer league. He was playing with the Milwaukee Bucks, and I was on the board of the NBA Retired Players Association, and I'm outside of a boardroom, and my agent calls me and goes, ESPN would like to feature you in the body issue. And I was like, do they know I'm 60 or I'll be 60? And they're like, yeah. I think Serena Williams was the youngest female. She might have been in her mid 30s.
Yep.
And I was like, hold that thought. I'm having dinner with my son after his game. I need to talk to my son. He's 23. And the last thing he wants to see is his mother naked in a magazine.
Right.
So, and it's so tasteful, the way they do it. I'm sure you've seen it many times. And then, I just told him, I said, if I do this, I need your support. I don't want you to be embarrassed or uncomfortable. Right. It's uncomfortable enough for me, but I think I can pull this off. And again, my thing was, if you didn't see my face, and if you looked at these bodies, who's the 60-year-old?
Right.
That's how, again, right? That dog in me, that competitor in me, I wanted to look better than the other athletes. So that was audacious, bold for me. I probably will not do that again.
You can check it off your bucket list if you have it there,
I
maybe.
didn't have a bucket list, but it's off that list.
Awesome. Well, look, Nancy, I really appreciate you taking your time and providing a few insights and sharing. It's been fabulous to sort of watch you work. Very much appreciated, and why we wanted to have you here to chat a little bit. So thank you, and continued success and all the best.
Thank you. I wish you the best, and keep doing great things on your show.
Thanks, Nancy. All the best.
Thank you. Bye.
Back we are here on the podcast, and I first off going to send my appreciation and thanks to Nancy for stopping by the Audacious Living podcast, sharing your story. Great insights, great lessons, and great learnings were definitely taken from that conversation. And actually, sort of when I think about our talk, one of the things that I remember Nancy touching on is the fact that she didn't set out to be audacious and do these things. They just kind of happened. When I think about it, and I think about, if we're being true to who we are and doing the things that we're meant to, that audacity that we have all inside of all of us, it naturally comes out. It naturally flows. And that's because it exists within all of us. It's not unique to certain individuals and others have it or exclusive or anything like that. We all have the ability to be our true audacious selves. And that's one of the main reasons why I started this platform and when I continue to share ideas and courage on this platform. We've got email notifications that are available to the podcast. If you haven't registered for them, you can do so by heading over to audaciouslife.com, entering your email, and every time new content comes out, you'll be alerted. It's just that simple. I want to take this opportunity to thank our listeners for your ongoing tremendous support. It's always appreciated. You're one of the reasons why we keep coming back here each and every week. So thank you. We've reached the end of another episode. So until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and of course, man, be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stevenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.